Well, I brought my brother's car for a couple of days, and
we're like, drive out in the quad, cheese.
the lizards convinced me to drive around. Yeah, drive.
We're all standing over in the balcony going, oh my God, he's really going to do it.
He did it.
Yeah, it was right by the library, or between the library and De La Salle,
Yeah, it was all around.
Oh no, yeah.
You drove up like right there on
Next to the library, right?
Well, no, but I think you drove by there, but then you were right there. You were really close to the De La Salle, and then you got stuck in the grass and started peeling out. And then you got out, and you were like pushing, trying to push, and
Crazy.
we were like, "Jeez."
Were you sober? Or?
No.
Yeah,
No.
I think I was, wasn't I? I think I was.
Dude.
That was one of the few times I was,
Really?
wasn't I?
I don't think
Does
so.
anyone
I
remember?
don't think anybody was so.
That might have could have been the few times I was. I don't know.
Was it get unstuck from the grass or?
I don't know how we got him out of there, but
Somebody probably helped me get out of there. Yeah,
Yeah.
probably Ted. Yes.
Tabagoo.
No, probably Ted.
We kidnapped that dude. Remember?
Tabagoo.
Yeah. I don't know.
Dude, I was thinking about this recently too. Okay, here's this guy who's really friendly, like a really friendly, nice guy, and he'd come around and be like, "Hey guys, how you doing?" I'm like, "Fuck out of here!"
Yeah.
Freaking Tabagoo, you know, or who was Cool Hand? He was like,
Oh, yeah.
kind of merciless.
Redding?
on it.
What?
Yeah,
Redding.
they'd just be like, "Get out of here!" You know, it's not time for you yet, or something
Yeah.
like that. And he'd be like, "Okay."
John Reddick. That was cool.
Yes. That was it.
Not time for you.
But somehow we ended up down in some college down in Southern California in my station wagon with you and Pete and Chris.
That was the beer bong tour.
Yeah. And somehow, for somehow or other, we were at we were at like a basketball game or something, and he was there.
It was probably Loyola. Yeah.
Yeah, and we're like, hey, come on, dude, we're going for a little ride or whatever. We went down to San Diego. He's like, I gotta be back home. Like, and we're like, nah, sorry, dude, we're not going back home.
It's past curfew or
Yeah,
whatever.
sorry, dude. We're going down
My
to San
parents are
Diego.
gonna kill me.
Yeah, we're like, yeah,
Dude,
well.
I was just telling Shelly about this stupid story that I think you reminded me of a few years ago in the station wagon.
Yeah.
And we're all sitting around at school one day and nobody had any pot. And it was like, who's got any pot? And you were like, I know a dude in South SF. And we'll take a ride.
So that wasn't a station wagon. That was my car. My
No,
Datsun.
this was a station wagon. I totally remember. So everybody got in the station wagon, and we're driving along, and we got the weed, and then we're gonna go and smoke it somewhere, and I had to piss.
Yeah, no, dude. I did no. Listen, we were in my Datsun, and I know you. But there was like
There were a bunch of guys with
there
us.
was
Four
dudes.
people in the
there were
Datsun.
4 dudes in the Datsun. It was my Datsun, little Datsun sports car.
With 2 gears.
Yeah, probably.
Not at that
I
point.
remember the eucalyptus trees were all trimmed down short, and you're like, I gotta piss.
That's
And you're
the
like
Berkeley-
kneeling down. I'm like, you're not
Berkeley
pissing on my car.
No, 'cause
Went around the front, did a U-turn
No,
on
because
the other side.
I was like, where am I gonna piss? And you're like, dude, just freaking kneel down behind the station wagon and pee in the guy.
No.
No, you said this, and
No,
I'm like,
I didn't.
okay, and then
I said, don't do that.
You got me. You got me to do it.
And you're standing
then I'm
there
like, so I start going. There's rush hour traffic going both ways.
Oh, wow.
And
I
then
looked at you, and you were just sitting on the other side.
You drove away and made a U
Yeah.
right on the other side of the street.
Yeah.
You guys sat there laughing your
Yeah.
asses off.
Yeah.
Because once I started, I couldn't stop.
Yeah, you
so
were
I was
just
just
standing
standing there on
laughing.
my knees. on the
your
sidewalk.
knees?
And all these people are driving by.
You were laughing. You were
I
laughing.
was like, oh.
You were laughing your
Because
ass
as
off.
soon as I started, I realized, oh, I know what he's gonna do. No, you were laughing the whole time. So,
Yeah.
no, I was telling Shelly about that just last night, actually.
Yeah. I'm almost positive we were in my little Datsun. There's like 4 of us. I'm pretty sure.
No, it wasn't a Datsun. I swear to God, I remember the Datsun Centrum. This was like for
What year was it?
This was when we were all still in school. This was like 85, I think. It's like 85.
Yep. Maybe my sophomore year, maybe.
That was for the
No, I think it was
De La
I think
Salle
you were-
year. Probably the De La Salle.
Yeah, because I was sophomore, so you were junior that year. You guys lived all over in De La Salle. And that's when I kind of started hanging around Pete, and he was like, "You should come over to the lounge." And then, and it was just like a mundane day, and we were like, "What do we do? What should we do?" Somebody's
Yeah,
like,
see, I had the Z then. That's when I had the Z.
I don't. Yeah, it was. I think you had your parents' station wagon left over from like a road trip or something like that. You used it for some reason.
You might have for
Yeah.
about a week or something.
But I remember that like Reddick was with us on that trip, and he wasn't with us normally, you know. And so there are a few guys. Pete was there. I think she was in the car.
I don't think I was. Well, I don't remember.
You're probably stuck in the lawn still or in the grass. But
I was in the bushes.
Wait, where was that? Was it in South City?
it was in South City where we were at.
See, I thought we were getting bathtub LSD.
No. This was just like a
Yeah, really.
regular weekday, just like let's do something between, you know, like everybody had eaten already. We're like, what do you want to do? I don't know. It's still sunny. It's decent weather, so we're like, let's just go do this. Okay, cool. And so, dude, and then I had to.
Hey, you know, this just reminds me of, we were at Reddick's house, or Reddick's apartment, and Cheese had left your jeans had gotten taken down to Alamo or something, and you were like, hey, I need to get a ride down to Alamo. And Reddick's shaving or something. He's like, dude, I don't have time to take you down to Alamo, asshole. And then Cheese is sitting there like, for like 2 minutes, and we're like talking and this and that, and all of a sudden Cheese is like, asshole. We're like, what are you talking about, dude? You just called me an asshole.
We were on shrooms.
Oh, that's right. We were on mushrooms.
We were on shrooms. We went to the football field.
Yeah.
And I left my jeans right inside the
Yeah.
gate. Some random dude was there, and he took my wallet, and he took my license. And
The one that says McLovin.
yeah. No, he took my license, and then he returned my wallet to
The liquor store?
the liquor store. Yeah, and then my dad's friend, who's worked with my dad in the FBI. He worked at the store a lot. He called me and told me he had my wallet. I was like,
We were going to S&B, Sterling and Brew.
where are we?
But you weren't going because you didn't have your license. Yeah. Did you ever go there?
I have a vague memory of making it to
It was like a
Steak and
chain.
Brew.
But the one in Oakland, it was like we'd go in there and it was an Oriental maitre d'.
Yes, and it was as much as you could drink.
Yeah.
So everyone was just slamming beer after beer.
Well, we'd go in there and we'd be like, we're still not sure what we want to get. Like the steak dinner was a hamburger and a potato. It's like we're still thinking, but you can start those pictures coming right now.
Well, it was Reddick was there, right?
Yeah, and me and Reddick would always say, hold our order for 15 minutes before, and we'll have another round.
What did he say? He said something though. He grabs the guy and he's like, "Hey, listen, my man." He's like, like they had a platter or something that they served the beers on. He's like, "I don't want to see this thing empty at any time during the night."
Yeah. We'd always get
Yes, sir.
hammered on Meisterbrow. That's what it was.
Or
Lowenbrow or something.
Roundup with 10-cent beers
Yeah.
on Thursday nights. Yeah, that was brutal. Oh, I was talking with Smolich's son, his youngest, Nick, you know, who went to St. Mary's, and we were comparing notes, because he's like, tell me about the old days. Tell me about, what did you guys do? And he's like, man, my dad won't really tell me much. And I was like, oh, dude. I was like, so I'm like listening all this stuff, and him and his buddies are like, no way. They're like, you guys really did that? They're like, we didn't do anything like that. And I was like, when I went there, we were the third biggest party school in California, voted by Playboy magazine. That was my clincher. That's why I decided to go. And we had a Coors sponsorship, you know, and they just made, when I got there, they just outlawed kegs. And they were like, oh, kegs are really bad, kids. No more kegs. But you can have as many cans as you want of, you know, any Coors product, no problem. And if you need Christian Brothers brandy or wine, we got you covered.
Yeah.
No problem. Yeah.
You just couldn't have kegs in the rooms. They'd have the keg party still.
No,
the game room socials. No, they just had beers.
Yeah,
and
we had cans.
stacked cases and cases, like
Yes.
50 cases of Coors right there, Coors Light right there,
Oh.
and they sold like a buck of beer or whatever it was.
Really?
Yeah, it was just.
They sold those red and blue drink chips. They have like the St. Mary's logo on it.
Yeah, you know what? I
They're
think
like little poker chips like this big. Yeah.
Oh wow! Yeah, I see. I don't think I went to those parties.
Yeah.
I
I remember like the first Mayfair that they did
Mayfest,
that kegs.
yeah.
There was like this deep of cans smashed just all over the football field,
Wow.
which seemed like I was thinking, what? This was kind of a dumb idea.
I went to that
Yeah.
Mayfest
Kegs would've been
thing.
better.
At Mayfest, it was like 3 hours, right? And then,
Mayfest. God, we
yeah,
don't drop the
Gay Fest. What was it say? What? A Fest? Yeah. And then like a few months out or next year or whatever, I was at the barn or some thing, and like there was some alumni there, and then said, whoa, and then they said, yeah, when we went to school here, Mayfest was 3 days. It was at the Redwood Grove, and they had like music and beer for like 3 days, like Woodstock.
Well, did you guys go like on Fridays during Jan term, go out to the amphitheater, and there'd be kegs. There'd be a bunch of kegs and like drinking games like Dizzy Bat.
What?
Ever played Dizzy
Oh
Bat?
yeah.
Dude, I mean that.
How did I miss that?
Probably wouldn't see that these days. Definitely not sanctioned by any organization. But yeah, you chug a beer and then you
around
chug a
back.
beer and then you have to run like about, I don't know,
50
40
yards.
yards, 30 yards, something like that.
Spin
And
around
somebody's
the bat.
standing out there with a bat, like,
Right.
and you have to stick your
Spin.
forehead on it and you spin around. Normally, Dizzy Bat is you spin around 3 times. Well, somebody is like, oh no, you got to do it 10 times. So people are out there going 10 times, falling down everywhere, trying to run back. And you had to run out, chug a beer, run out, chug a beer, spin 10 times, and then try to run back
Right.
and tag your next person.
You do it 3 times sober and you're gonna fall over.
Yeah.
Everyone's
10
just
times.
munching it head first in the ground. Or then, the bright idea of this is actually brilliant, the saga trays to slide down the hills.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, except that those two, Tracy and Sylvia, were going down, like freaking flying down the hill one night right into barbed wire.
Oh.
And just all torn up. So that kind of got crossed off.
Was that up this SMC where they were doing
You,
that?
Yeah.
you go up to the cross or just up the hill and like sit on the saga tray, the food tray,
Yeah.
and go sliding down.
I thought that was at the SMC. Or, I'm thinking of they painted it and slid down the
Yeah.
painted
Yeah.
SMC
Yeah, it
or
was
something.
that.
Any kind of hill back there, yeah, the SMC or the cross.
There was a canyon just to the right of the cross, or just east or southeast of the cross on that side, a canyon. I
Yeah.
drove down that in my car
Yeah, I was with
with,
Hard
with,
Time one
with, with
night.
Asuna. Oh yeah, remember when Hard Time
Yeah, we
was
went
in his
diving
truck,
out of the
drove
truck.
out, yeah.
We thought, this is it.
Yeah,
So,
stop,
like,
Hard Time. You kept
we're
on
about
going.
to dive out, and then we're like, no, time it. Wait, hold on. Okay, right? No!
And I remember,
thought,
I remember jumping out with my beer and looking over at you on the other side, and you flipped completely over, and his glass stayed like this, upright, the whole time. He's like flipping over, and he's going,
What?
ooh, and he's like, but didn't spill a drop.
Matrix.
that's so funny because I remember that I landed super soft too. It was just like, wow, how did that happen? And nobody died. He did, like, the truck didn't go all the way
Was
Yeah,
it
he
down.
his
stopped.
truck?
Yeah.
He had like a Toyota pickup, right?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and then when you were over in Pleasant Hill, he I don't know what he did. He wreck his truck. You were driving your car. You had that tan Toyota and driving it the wrong way down the freeway, and wrecked that. And then Hard Tongue wrecked his truck. I don't know how he wrecked that.
It was I think it was the same night. Dude,
Really?
we went, yeah, it was spring break at 87. And I was like, I don't know, I don't got any plans. Hard Time, what about you? And he's like, I don't know. He's like, I hear there's a party in Berkeley. There's like some place called The Cave that's like, it's the last night they're going to be open. And we're like, okay, cool. And it was a like underage, kind of a gothy kind of a place, but it was right above a liquor store. And we kept going down and getting Mickey's Big Mouths until I remember the liquor store owner guy was finally like, fuck you, you get out of here, never come back here again. We left, and God, we got separated. He met some freaking black street chick or something, and I thought it was a dude. I remember that. And I was like, oh, well, that's something I learned about Hard Tongue tonight. He went one way, and I was like, I was going to see some girl in Santa Cruz. And I remember I got on that 880, and I'd be driving down the Nimitz, and I was like, I think I'm going the wrong way. So I'd like get off, get back on, going the other way, and I'd drive and be like, no, I'm definitely going the wrong way. And so I kept doing that, and one of those times I got off and I got on the wrong way. And I started off like almost full tank, and I was just driving like in the fast. I thought I was in the fast lane. I remember screaming at everybody. Yeah, what is going? I was like, what is wrong with people? I drove until I ran out of gas in the fast lane. All these cars coming at me, and the sun was coming up. It was starting to get light, and I was just sitting there in the car, and I was like I came to, you know, I completely blacked out. And so I came to, I was like, oh my God, what am I gonna do? And so I was like, you know, I jumped out, all these cars are flying at me and going around, whoa.
You're still in the lane?
Yeah, I was still
You're
there.
traveling.
Went in the wrong way.
It was the slow lane,
in
but
the
you thought
oncoming traffic.
you thought it
on
was just
that
fast
next-
lane.
It was slowly
And
me out.
so I was like, oh my God, I turned my wheel, waited for like a gap, and I just pushed, because I was out of gas. I went to push it, I got all the way across the lanes and my wheel locked. And I was like, so I had to jump in the car, turn the ignition on so the wheel could move, and I got right over the edge of the freeway as people, flew by me, and then I got out.
Nobody
and I
hit
was
you?
like, huh?
Nobody hit you?
Nobody hit me, but I had along the passenger side, it was just, and I don't fully remember what that was. I just remember one of the times I got off and was making a U-turn.
guardrail.
It was like, I'm pretty sure they had like big boulders on the side to keep people from, and I was like, kind of thinking, oh, I'll make it. And I hit the boulder. Instead of like backing up, I was like, no, I just gunned through it. And, yeah, that was bad.
Lucky
That was bad.
you're alive. And
Oh, crazy. And then I was like on the side of the road, like, oh my God, I can't believe this. I was totally like snapped out of it. And I swear this was a freaking angel. This little old Mexican dude in like an old camper pickup. He pulled up and like, I think he might have said like 2 words to me, if that. And he just like, he totally helped me out. He had some gas, gave me some gas, followed me to the next exit, and I got off and he drove off.
And what happened? How come you couldn't drive after that though?
No, I could. It was drivable. I just was like for a minute though,
Ran out
I
of
couldn't
gas.
do anything because I was like, oh my God, this whole situation.
But-
So I drove back. I went to Hard Tongue's place in Lafayette, and I went in. His truck was there.
No. I thought this was no. We were living in Pleasant Hill at that Redwood house, and they had the hovel.
Mayhew?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
that was a whole different event. We
Yeah,
were still me and Hard Tongue we were still in school.
No,
you
no,
know?
but what I'm talking about is when we were living at that other place with a hovel, something happened. You wrecked your car.
No, you wrecked your car, the Sentra.
No, I know, but before that, before I wrecked my car, you and Hard Tongue showed up at my place at the hovel, knocking on the door, and you're like, "Hey, there's no grass. We got to go to Berkeley and get some grass." And I thought your cars weren't running. I thought they were gone. And I could have sworn somebody said, "Oh yeah, you wrecked your car and Hard Tongue wrecked his truck."
I think we like regularly wrecked our cars.
I know, but it was like, but for some reason you guys couldn't drive, and so we're like, "Oh, well, let's get Ted to go."
And you went on that, and when that was when me and him got ripped off. Was it that trip?
No. We you guys kids, hey, let's go to Berkeley and see if we can score some grass.
Oh, we went all through the hills that day.
No, what we did is I came out and got in the car and was warming the car up, and I had like, I don't know, 4 hits of acid.
Yeah.
And we dropped acid before we left. Got down, we bought a pretty good grass, I think. I thought it was all right. And we didn't smoke it, but we were starting to come on by the time we got to Berkeley.
Oh yeah.
And then we went to the what was it, the botanical garden?
Yeah,
the
went to Tilden
Tilden
Regional Park up
the
there.
koi pond.
Yeah.
And we were like sitting on the they had these rocks, like a bridge going across the middle of the thing. and we're sitting there, and I'm looking at the koi over here, and you're on the other side. We were just like two statues. We were just totally like this, right? And Hartung's standing there, he's kind of wandering around, and there's a couple students with like a bunch of retarded people, and they're making all this noise, and Hartung was he was like, oh man, dude, we gotta get out of here, man. Let's go, come on. And I'm just like totally like transfixed by the koi, right? And Hartung just goes, Fing! And then they come up, and one of the dudes is like, those koi look, you guys are having a pretty good time. He knew what we were doing. He's like, they knew what was going on, right? And I'm just going, oh yeah, that's great. But they split, and then it was like we got up and we were like looking around, like, where's Hartung? He's like in a bush, and you can just see his head sticking out of this bush.
You know? You guys are crazy, man. He's like, you're all retarded. You know that, right? But he's saying it loud, like they can hear. And so then we went tripping all through the hills, like all over.
Right.
You know, and
we ended up in a park in Vista Place. We parked in the shade, but Hartung was still in the sun. In the back seat, and we're passing the doobie around, but you couldn't see the smoke in the shade. You could just see it in the back, and Hartung is just sitting in this big cloud of smoke. He's all sweating and shit. Right? He's like, I gotta get out of here. I gotta get out.
You had taken like, I didn't know this. You took all my brother's Hendrix albums. He had a bunch of Hendrix albums. I just had them like laying around, and you put them all into one tape. And you was like, check this out. You put that in, and you're like blasting it, and we're just blasting this super loud Hendrix the whole time, driving everywhere. And then
we were sitting on the bench, and Hartung started going out into the parking lot, and he's like stomping his feet, and he's clenching his fists, and he's walking around. He's like, oh, like trying to get a grip. Remember? And we were just laughing our asses off.
Dude, but then,
and
then at a certain point, it was just him and me in the back seat, and you're driving, and you keep looking back at us like.
No, you were in the back seat. He was in the passenger.
Oh yeah, that's right. He dove out.
No, he was walking around, stomping around the parking lot, and I remember looking at him and going, I was in hysterics, just tears pouring down my face, and I was thinking, I have never laughed this hard since I was like an infant, you know. And right when I was thinking this, Coop goes, I forgot how to laugh. And I was just like, man, fuck. I was like going, damn. What the fuck? That's right. Exactly what I forgot how to laugh.
You're dying, and all of a sudden I was like, I can't laugh. I forgot.
And then Hartung's he's all, let's go. He said, we gotta go now. I got shotgun. And you got in the back. We're just like, oh fuck. We just like got caught in his paranoia and just jumped in the car, right? And we're going down. I'm going down the hill, going, oh Jesus Christ, man! I'm looking over at Hartung. He's still sitting over there, like clenching his fist and clenching his sphincter, and like, trying to get down the hill.
He leaned over. I couldn't hear anything but just blasting Hendrix. I was like, this is great. And then Hartung's like, would lean back, and he's like, you gotta get ready. You know, it's like, what? You know, he's like, I'm driving out the car. He's like, you gotta go too. And he's like, we're gonna die, you know.
Yeah, I was saying, you started tapping on my shoulder, and I was like, I'm not looking back, man. I am not looking back. I'm gonna keep looking out the front of this car. And we were like halfway past Lafayette, like between Lafayette and that interchange, and I'm looking, and all of a sudden you're like tick 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 tick, just this constant tick 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 tick, would not stop, you know. So finally I'm like, okay, I'm gonna look back there. And it was like a minute later, I'm like, what am I doing? The road looks weird.
Oh, yeah. Dude, we did that a lot. Hartung and I did this road trip one night in the middle of the night. It's like it was 2 a.m. or something. We're over at his house, and we were there with Tony Chapeau, Tony Chapot. We're like, hey, what are you guys doing tonight? And they're like, I don't know. And we're like, how about some acid? Okay. Everyone did it, and we're sitting there, and we're in the apartment, and we turned off all the lights, and we had incense, and we're like, whoa, yeah, the trails. And then I was doing it for these guys. They're all sitting there, and I burned I would go all the way down, and like, do it again. So I'd light up another one, and I kept going through, and then after Shapot was going, I taste something really weird. It's like, it tastes weird. It's like perfume or something. What do you guys notice that? And we're like, yeah, I noticed that too. And they're like, should we turn on the lights? So we turned on the lights. And you couldn't even see. There was so much incense smoke. We were like probably dying of smoke inhalation. And we're like, oh my God, we gotta clear this place out. And you know, we're thinking like, the poor family that allowed Hard Time to live there above their garage.
Oh yeah, yeah. That was in
Yeah.
Lafayette. Yeah, I remember
Oh,
that
yeah.
place.
With the,
Off of St. Mary's.
oh yeah, and then so, but we went on another midnight road trip. Oh, that was, we got sick of everybody and we were about to go on Janturn trips. So we had a sheet and we're like, let's take a road trip, go to Bodega Bay. And dude brought a frying pan. Nothing to fry it in. And, but he was always into frying eggs and stuff. He's like, let me get my frying pan. I was like, okay. And yeah, so then we drove all the way to Bodega in the middle of the night. And we're driving along, just blasting music, and the fog was completely fogged in. So we're like, oh man, going down 101. And he's like, are you all right to drive? I was like, I think the car's driving by itself. And he's like, I think so too. So we just kept going. And I turned on my flashers. I was going like 10 miles an hour up 101. And we're like, I think we're invisible. He's like, what about the flashers? And I was like, yeah, I think they can see the flashers, but they can't see us. And he was like, yeah, I think so. You hungry? I was like, yeah, I am. He's like, there's a Denny's. So cool, we go into this Denny's and we're sitting, we just ordered up, man. We're just eating and eating. And I was like, hey, I don't have any money. He's like, I don't either, man. We're like, fuck. We're like, how are we gonna get out of here? He's like, okay, we're gonna make this plan. There's a car's over there. We don't want to be too obvious and go out the front door. Just gonna go out the back door. We're like, all right. So we're like, okay, they think, you know, we're like, can I get some more coffee? We're just like chugging coffee and everything, and everyone's looking at us like, we know what these fuckers are gonna do. So we bail out the back door. Well, it was the kitchen door. It was right in the kitchen.
Uh-huh.
So we go running in there, and all of a sudden the cooks and like the staff back there is looking at us like, what the hell? And we're like, oh, we ran around the whole kitchen, stuff, like, knocking stuff over.
Oh no.
And then we got out, went back out that door, out the front door, run to the car, and we had a 6-pack of empty Coors bottles. And I'm like, dude, we gotta get rid of the beers. And he goes, got it. He takes a freaking sixer. He goes whew, across the parking lot, and we sat there like just frozen as we watched that whole. It just goes zzz, all the way across the parking lot, all the way across the road. There's 101 entrance right there. There's a CHP sitting right at the entrance, and it goes underneath the car. And we're standing there, we're like, well, that's it. And then staff is running after us, and they stop because they're like, well, the cops got it now. And we stood there, we're like, okay, game's over. And we waited. And dude's still sitting there with his motor running. And we're like, 5 minutes. Seriously, I was like, dude, I don't think he caught on. He's like, I don't think he did either. It was like, let's just go. So we just drove out real slow, got on the freeway right in front of the guy, and we drove off. And then again, I was like, I told you we're fucking invisible. And so he's like, but no way, the people, they saw us because they were, you know, they're kind of chasing us. And I was like, okay, we're invisible cops. So we both agreed on, we're like, all right, so we drove like the whole rest of the way. We stopped in a graveyard at sunrise in Sebastopol. And we're like, well, we're looking like, we got someone into that freaking graveyard. And then we're like, probably hadn't drank any water in who knows how long. And he's like, I was like, man, I'm thirsty. He's like, here's a spigot. He turned it on, and this water's just blasting out. And he takes a big, huge drink. And I was like, how is it? And he goes, it's the best water I've ever had in my life. And I'm like, all right. And I take his big old guzzle, and then both of us look at each other, we're like, oh. And it was like poison water or something. And we turned the water down, and it was like black coming out of there. And we're like, and you know, we're like, it's been filtered through the corpses in the graveyard. We're like, I'm like, oh my God.
You don't answer at this point, right?
Oh yeah, so then we're like, keep driving. So we kept on, we went until we got to Bodega, and then we sat on the pier, like no words for about the next 6 or 8 hours. Didn't say a word. The only thing is we went in the store and we like kind of mustered up the energy, went in the store, and it was Diekman's store. And we asked the guy, we like thought, okay, what should we ask him? And we're like, where are we? How do we get here? Stuff. And he just goes, all he said was, yep. That was it. So we walked out and we're like, what happened? You think that was Mr. Diekman? So we went back in. And our son went back in. After like a few more hours, we had to muster up. He's like, because we were deciding, we got to find out who that guy was. And he's like, he goes back and he's like, are you Mr. Diekman? And, oh, yeah. And that was like, we were both leaving. He was going to Yosemite the next day for his Janter trip, and I was going, I had seamanship. So I was going to the Caribbean.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
yeah, we did that, and then, but
Yeah.
we had that sheet, and we're driving along, and like I said, we're going literally 10 miles an hour, and every like few miles, I'd be talking, and he'd be like, "Oh yeah, really," and he'd stick like something in my mouth. I was like, "What are you doing?" He was sticking hits in my mouth. He'd just be like. He's like, I can't really say how. He's like, just pull off a big old wad. And he'd put one in my mouth, and then he'd take one, and then we counted how many we left when we were at Bodega. And we realized we're like, we split over before he gets acid. So, yeah, it took a while to come down. I went straight to the Caribbean and carried it on, and he had his adventures in Yosemite. I smuggled an ounce and a half into the Caribbean, like a huge ounce and a half of green bud down my pants, wrapped in coffee. Like I had coffee grounds, like the weed, in a bag, and then like wrapped it in foil and stuck it down my pants. So I'm riding the whole way there, and the ground started falling out into my pants.
Oh no!
Yeah, it was bad, but I made it all the way. Yeah, it was fun. Yeah, an actual college class. Seamanship.
E-Miser bailed out of my car one time.